Hello, welcome to Wand and Crown. I'm Hayley, that's Keeley, and today we have joining us one of our other agents, Skylar.
Hello.
Okay, and we are going to talk all about Run Disney. I did my first 10K with Run Disney at Disneyland this past January, and Skylar was also there, and she also did the half marathon, and I think the 5K as well.
No, not for this one.
Okay.
For Princess, I'm registered.
Okay. But she's also done a lot of Run Disney events. So we kind of wanted to talk about what Run Disney is, what the appeal of it is, and compare Disneyland to Disney World. So basically, Run Disney, for, lack of a more detailed term, is Disney's marathon running club, kind of.
You can go to Disney and run. That's
You get to run at the theme park. It's like
yeah,
the best part with characters.
Yeah, and they've got tons of events throughout the year. Disney World has done a lot more than Disneyland, right?
Technically, Disneyland had to stop because of the city of Anaheim and where their footprint is. Back in 2018, they did have 2018 might have been the last race before this one. They were just having some problems with the city of Anaheim. So,
well, yeah, Disneyland is very different than Disney World. It essentially just butts straight up to Anaheim.
Yeah.
Whereas Disney World gets to
the larger footprint.
Yeah.
So they've got different themed events throughout the year. They've got like the basic Walt Disney World Marathon, Disneyland half marathon weekends. They've got Princess, Wine and Dine. They've got Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars is now springtime.
Springtime, okay. I feel like there's another one I'm missing, but I can't think of it. But they've got a bunch of different types throughout the year, and they'll do different length races each weekend, like 5K, 10K, half, and full marathon. And some people will even do all of the races in one weekend. That is the Dopey Challenge, correct?
Keeley. During marathon weekend, yeah.
Okay.
That's what Meredith does.
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
So one of our other agents,
Yeah.
Meredith, did that this past January in Disney World, and I cannot.
I love that for her.
Yeah. No.
It's a lot of miles and a lot of days.
Yeah. So what would you say is kind of the benefit of doing a Run Disney race as opposed to any other running event?
I think it's a chance to just have a unique experience.
Okay.
Having access in small numbers to be in this space that you already love or enjoy so much is special. I mean, just even if you're just doing the yoga, for example, because Princess has yoga, Springtime has yoga, is an opportunity to be in the parks and a little behind the scenes, but still experience that magic and have that joy in such a special, fun place. And you get to dress up. It's one of the only times besides the Halloween parties when we as adults are allowed to also dress up in the parks. So
yeah. And that's the fun. You go all out for your costume.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
So there's you can go kind of Disney bounding, which is kind of what my friend and I did for ours-ish. Or you can go more all out, which is what you did.
Costumey, wigs,
Do you have a favorite costume that you have done ever?
I did Tamatoa from Moana because last year was my year of the creature. So I ran with crab claws on.
Oh my God.
And I had just ordered regular crab claws, but my friend, they own a car refitting facility, and they special painted my crab claws so that they could be the perfect shiny purple color to match my Lululemon running dress for the princess half. So
we're gonna need that for the cover photo of this episode. That's what we should do. cover photo.
But I mean, so last year was Creature, and I did Tamatoa, and then for the springtime 10 miler, I was one of Bo Peep Sheep because there were 3 of us running. And then for Wine and Dine, because I did a lot of the races, and there were 3 of us, we were the magic. So we were like the butterflies, like Mirabelle's magic, because it was Encanto themed. So, but this year's my villain era. So my Cruella 10K photo, that one was on like the Disney PhotoPass page. That was very fun. I did that. I've probably the best feedback that I've had from like cast members and people watching was during the 10K wearing the Cruella wig. Like I was like, oh, everybody loves the villain here, huh? Okay. Thank you, people of Disneyland and Anaheim.
We all love a misunderstood woman.
Right. I was like, okay. So it's inspired my Princess Weekend costumes.
Ooh.
So
I know you told me.
You.
Oh no, I was gonna ask you what costumes you have planned.
So the 5K I'm doing with my kids.
Okay.
So if you're 5 and up, you can do the 5K. So since they didn't bring the kids races back to Disney World yet, they did have them in Anaheim at Disneyland. So we registered for the 5K. One of them registered through charity with me, and then one of them we were able to get a bib like last minute. But so one of them really wanted to be Ariel. One of them wanted to be Flounder. I'm in my villain era, so I'm being Ursula, and I really want to run in a wig again. So I was like, okay, if I'm going to run in a wig for any of them, it will be this one. I'm doing the 10K with a friend because I'm also doing the challenge since I'm registered through Girls on the Run as like a charity runner as a soulmate. So I'm doing the 10K, which is themed Rapunzel. So I'm doing Mother Gothel. Full like chain belt included. And then the half marathon is themed for Tiana. So I'm going to be Dr. Facilier. I'm still working on my hat situation, but I have the sash. One of my friends that kind of helps me with little details. Like she's made little kind of like aprons for me before. And she made the D that was on my chest for the half marathon where I ran with the Mickey hands on.
Yeah.
She kind of does those things for me. So, yeah. Oh, but the 5K is Little Mermaid themed. So that's why we're doing Ursula. Yeah.
Have you ever, so I've seen people like when they do like the runs, like they'll like leave stuff sometimes like if it's like hindering them. Have you ever left like some of your like costumes? Okay.
I purposely will wear like throwaway clothes. So it's pretty cold in the mornings. I mean, I'm usually getting there around 3:30 at the latest. So I have on layers of clothes that I know are going to be donated. In Disneyland, because I was a little worried about like the donation situation, I had Mylar blankets we ordered to pack off Amazon. And then, so we used them before the race. I threw it off way too early during the half marathon, unfortunately. And then we started it late. It started like 15 minutes late. So it's really cold. But at the end of the race, they also like have them to give out to you because they like are fully aware that it's cold. So, and they say Run Disney on them. So it's kind of cute. So.
Yay. And all the races, they have to start early because they're trying to get you in and out.
They want you out of the park before it opens. I mean, I know someone who did the 5K in Disneyland and they were walking and taking pictures because they were doing it with their kids and kind of stopping in the lines. And they cut the course so that they weren't able to like walk the full distance just to kind of get them out of the park so they could keep it going. So, yeah.
Oh, so, okay. You said you were part of the charity team for a few things. So what would you say, like, registration is pretty brutal?
Registration is intense. It feels like getting like concert tickets for Taylor Swift. I mean, because it was the first race back to Disneyland in so many years, like 5 years, and the theme was Dumbo for the challenge. They released the medals before right before registration, so you can kind of see and you're like, oh, I want to do that. I know I want to do that. So anyway, that was like the first thing to go, and I was registering 3 people. So like I got in through the queue, I got everybody's information in, we pull it up, it sells out.
Yep.
Still charges me $1,200. which stayed on my bank account because I used like a debit card because I wasn't really like thinking about it.
Yeah.
And like people had sent me money because I'm doing it for them. It stayed on there for 12 days. So literally when we registered, like, what was that? Valentine's Day. By the time I got to Princess last year, like on the Wednesday, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to go to Packet Pickup tomorrow and be like, hey guys, can you release my money? But literally that next day it was off. But anyway.
You owe me $1,200, please.
Hey, but when that happened, I instinctively like went back in and grabbed the half marathon for us. So we at least had something. And then I was really obviously disappointed because I was really looking forward to doing the challenge because it's like I'm already traveling there. I want to do both. We didn't at the time know the courses, which I'm glad I did end up doing the 10K because the 10K course was outstanding. It was through both parks. Anyway, so I have this app called Telegram and it kind of gives you updates basically when bibs become available again. So there's all these charities that have a certain number of bibs and people have to make their fundraising goals. And if they're not making their goals, they can release them back to Disney and Disney can like open them up basically. So it's kind of like an alert that like you and your 5,000 best friends get that lets you know like, hey, so like you literally have to go in and just like you and yeah, you just have to do it like right away. It's like you don't even get to think about it. You're just like doing it and it's done. And I accidentally ordered like a men's medium shirt or something just because I was like clicking through like I did one for my friend to register her for the 5K for Princess this month and I accidentally put like her birth year wrong. So she's like, oh my God, I'm so glad that you did that because Disney thinks I'm so much younger. And I'm like, oh my God, your license doesn't match when you pick up your bib.
Oh God.
But like you literally like, because so many other people are also trying to get it because these races are just so exclusive and so in demand. So I will say it's a little bit frustrating that like once we got to the like getting closer to the weekend, I started to see in a lot of the Facebook groups people making comments like, oh, I'm not really ready for the challenge and I didn't train. And it's like, it's so frustrating as like somebody who's really like excited about it and wanted to do that like that person kind of like took away a spot that like, you know, so like I couldn't get the real Dumbo medal. Like I literally got lucky enough to buy one of the pins that sold out. And like, this is it. Like I didn't get to get the real medal. Like, you know, so.
Oh,
It was so,
it's
so cute.
But you want the medal for doing it.
I want the medal. Normally it would sit in a bag in my garage, but I did finally hang up like all my medals. So but they did live in a bag on the floor in the garage for a really long time. So that's why I was like, you know what? That's okay. My pin is good and it can sit on my desk. Yeah. That's fine. I know not like life happens and things, but like it was to the point where I'm seeing like a message or a post every day of people just saying like, hey, I didn't train. I'm like, you had so long and you're taking away like a really valuable spot. Like, and it's also not their fault, but because Disney doesn't really let you like transfer registration easily either.
No,
so like it would be great if there was a waiting list, right? And you could jump in for that. But anyway.
I was going to say that would be good for like somebody who, something comes up where they can't make it for whatever. I mean, just like a normal vacation. I don't know, work stuff, jury duty. I don't know why that's one of the first things that came to my head. I don't know. But like stuff like that, where it's like, they're now losing out with what they pay because runDisney's not cheap. And
you're signing up so far in advance, like literally last Valentine's Day. So 11 months in advance, we signed up for the race, right? So that was
and my friend got like tested positive for COVID literally the like 2 days before she was supposed to leave for this. And
I did not know that.
Yeah. So that there were only 2 of us that were there. So we had Meg and Payne, but no Panic.
She was panicking. She had COVID.
Well, yeah, she was, but she didn't feel bad at all. She just was like, I'm going to test just to test before I go out into this crowd of people. And there's no way
the right thing.
Or for them to release it. So,
especially because there were a lot of people because it was set up very differently in the corrals.
In So let's.
I didn't even get to meet up with you.
I know. We were supposed to pick Skylar
We're
up.
texting each other at like 3 a.m.
Going to random places, couldn't find each other. It was anyway. So, what would you say that's like a really good lead in to how would you say that Disney World courses differ from Disneyland and like the race in general?
Right.
Because the last time that I did a Disney World race was 2013, so
been a while.
It's changed a lot.
Yeah, no, and I think I've been doing world races since 2016. That was my first one, but I've been pretty consistent. I did pop out to Small Humans, but like every other year, basically around their births, I was still like heading back. But so, I mean, I'm going into it being my 24th, 25th, 26th Run Disney events here coming into Princess Weekend. So like I've been a lot at this point. So everything's different, even like from packet pickup, when you arrive at Walt Disney World, you do have a virtual queue. So that's the same for your Run Disney merchandise. And that's kind of where it stops. You arrive at Walt Disney World to the ESPN, like Wide World of Sports Resort. And
that was,
that's huge. If you're going on the first day of packet pickup, you're sitting in a line probably to get into parking if you're not riding one of the buses from the hotels, which are also a great option for people. And it kind of depends on the route you want to choose, but they've got all the bibs in one building, and you kind of have filled out your waiver and you can go do that first. And that kind of lets you know a little bit of what corral you're going to be in. It doesn't tell you on your waiver, but you can see what your bib number is. And people start sharing like partials of their bib number and then comparing to years before. So that kind of helps you know. And everybody's like, oh, it doesn't matter. But like it sort of does for people who like to prepare and you want to get in the mindset of like, okay, I know that if I turned in this proof of time, I'll be in kind of one of the first corrals, which lets me know like, I definitely want to get there early. And, this is how my morning's going to look. Or, maybe you didn't have an opportunity to turn in a proof of time, or you just plan to walk, that you're going to be in one of the further down corrals. You kind of still want to get in early, but
and you want to make sure that you're at the front so that if you happen to not necessarily be at the full 16-minute pace,
you can get to finish. Right.
Ladies.
But so after you pick up your bib, you're going to go into like a general expo area, grab your shirts. Can change them out sometimes if they don't fit. And they also give you your gear check bag, which is super helpful for people who like to bring a dry shirt for after the race, or I like to leave my wallet in there or my keys. I like to have like a recovery shoe with me so that I don't like put a lot of extra miles on my running shoes because I just want to run in them. And then I accidentally wear my recovery shoes all the time in real life just because they're so comfy. But there's also tons of other products in there, and like Jeff Galloway's there with the Pacers because there are Pacers in each corral, so you can like go by and meet him or meet them and kind of feel a little more comfortable about your race day. You can Florida Run or Fit to Run or Florida Running. I can't remember the exact name, but they always have like a really big footprint within that expo where you can get all kinds of last minute stuff. And, BB Brooke, she's always there with like little cute accessories or things like literally everyone's there. Pam's Fluffy Fizzies, she's always there. I love like her recovery bombs that she has for the shower or the bath. Like you can you start to know the people that are there and like what you can get if you've forgotten something. I mean, they even have the KT tape people there.
Yeah.
Like literally like you can make an appointment
showing you how to
get taped up.
Oh, that's
so it's really cool. And you can see and like touch the medals in person. And lately the medals, there's a dog scratching loudly. I apologize. Lately the medals have been like moving or lighting up. So it's really cool to like kind of get to see it before at the little like Run Disney section and check in with them. And historically at those like little Run Disney podium, you've also been able to sign up for like races like late or like last minute if they have any openings. So it's always good to kind of stop by there too to see if they have anything open. It hasn't been like that the last few races, but there was at Wine and Dine in 2022.
Okay.
I was able to sign up for springtime
Okay.
for 2023. So that was kind of like, it used to happen. Anyway, so you can also kind of learn, like, see the course route. You can learn about PhotoPass and how you're going to get your photos, all that stuff. And then when you go up and out of that building, that's when you're like, okay, did they call my virtual queue yet? Like, I'm ready to go see this runDisney merchandise. I need it. So, and on your way out too, there's also, like, they've been doing half off discounted tickets for the water parks at some of the races too. So you can stop by and you can buy them right there from them. And get, like, free stickers and stuff, or a little, like, themed drink. Anyway, you walk out by the food vendors. Now it's like, okay, I really need to go get my corksicle or my, like, magnet or my little, like, medal, since I'm not getting the real one, whatever. You show them your virtual pass, you go in, you walk around like the longest line in this building ever. And sometimes you have to stand in another line that's really long, and then you get let in. And you can, like, mobile shop, and it's great. And they just seem to have, like, so much stuff. There's people around, and they're, like, sending pictures to other people, or are they just hoarding it for themselves? Who knows? But it's really awesome because you can just kind of see, like, okay, you're starting to get excited. The weekend's happening. You pick what you want. You check out. I always do the mobile checkout just because it's the quickest. And then there's characters. So there'll be, like, 2, 3, sometimes 4 characters that you can take a picture with. And it's so fun because you're like, okay, now the weekend has started. Like, at Wine and Dine, like, I took the girls with me to the expo day, and they were kind of like, oh, I don't want to do anything. Like, can we just go to the park? Like, whatever. Why are we here? And then, like, I was done getting my magnet, because I like to do, like, the car magnet, because I'll just put it on the fridge or the car. I don't really get with all the other really pricey things, but they do give an AP discount on it. But anyway, we got to meet Mirabelle, and they were like, oh my God, Mirabelle's here. Like, what? Who knew she was going to be here? And I'm like, yeah. Oh, yeah. Look at you. You got to meet Mirabelle.
You wanted to go to parks.
Yeah. You didn't even want to be here. So whatever. No, I want my picture along with Mirabelle. Anyway, so that's kind of like the Walt Disney World packet pickup experience. Day one, Disneyland was a little different. They had sent everybody who did yoga Thursday morning, like, emails of their stuff, so they didn't have to do, like, a packet pickup day for that.
Okay.
They did packet pickup at the Disneyland Hotel, Hayley, as you got to experience once you were able to get in.
Yeah.
And I landed on Thursday at, like, 9:30, 9:45. When I did the virtual queue, I was in, like, boarding group number 300 and something. And I was like, oh God, they're never going to call me. Okay, this is, like, what I planned to do today. But I wasn't going to freak out. I was like, okay, it's fine. Like, we're going to get our Uber from the airport. We did not stay on property. Once they released the course maps, I saw, like, that we were going to be starting and finishing in Toy Story in the parking lot. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to stay at one of the Disney hotels over here and have to, like, walk through to get, like, that seems backwards. So we just stayed at a Hyatt. Like, I was with 3 other girlfriends. They did not seem to mind me waking up early on Saturday. And one of the other girls woke up with me early Sunday, so it wasn't so bad. But yeah, anyway. So walk through downtown Disney, walk in, and, I'm like, oh, well, at least I'll go get my bib. It was crazy. It was packed. It was so busy. And the Disneyland Hotel is it's just not as big. It's not as big as an entire sports complex, right? So
it's a convention center. It's a bunch of ballrooms, essentially.
Yeah. And I mean, when you go into the ballroom to get your bib, you're like, okay, I'm here. Okay, this is it. And I go and pick up my a la carte bibs, and I'm like, oh, I'm not in the corral that I should be for the 10K. Oh God. Because I signed up late. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll go talk to them, because they don't make changes for the 10K because there's no proof of time for it, but it is still, like, a timed race. So anyway, get that, go downstairs, get my shirt, and I'm looking around and I'm like, there's no characters. Why isn't there a character? And then I'm like, it's okay. Like, I'm going to kill time. I'll go around to all the vendors. And I'm like, there's not really any vendors. And the vendors are here like yelling at me, like they want to curl my hair. Like, no, you can't touch my hair. Like they were like aggressive. It was like Pam's Fluffy Fizzies was not there smiling with her sparkle lipstick. Okay. It was very different.
No Pam.
No Pam. And they did, I will say there was a Percy Jackson photo opportunity. Did you see that, Hayley? That was like outside in the hallway. So I was like, they tried it. Like,
yeah.
Made for effort.
And they had a photo background for the half marathon.
That was so beautiful. Like it would have been perfect. Like, why could they just not have like a single character there? Like it was a beautiful backdrop. And then it's like, oh no. Anyway, then I look over and I see like, oh, okay, here's where the line is. And you can actually like peek through to see, since it's all in the same room where the Run Disney merchandise is. And I'm peeking through and I'm like, oh my God, there's nothing left. Like, oh shit. Luckily, a girl that like I'm in a Facebook group like locally with was there, and she was nice enough to like message me, and she's actually who bought the magnet and the pin for me. Thank you, Lisa. Because otherwise I wouldn't have had anything. There was literally nothing left but like 2XL jackets, and
and it did not change between when you went and when I went the following day at like 4 p.m. It was 2X and 3X jackets. And then like some of the smaller shirts had come back out, but for the most part it was 2X and above. And it's like, okay, that's great. I appreciate you being inclusive and all that. But for the most part, runners tend to be on the smaller side.
Or just like, who has registered. Yeah. You've seen the shirt sizes of people who have registered. So like, that was 11 months ago. Like data analysis.
Yeah. Like I did not bring a running
at minimum.
I knew I was going to get one of those running jackets. I knew it. And then it was like, oh, psych, 3XL. I'm like I may have not trained. I may not be in shape, but I am not a 3X yet. So
this is like giving me like Jollywood Nights flashbacks of where they had all this time to prep. So much time.
But you know what? It's not on like Run Disney. So like it's actually special events in Disneyland were actually the ones who did it. So like Run Disney came and provided like some levels of support, but it's actually special events Disney, which is like, I feel like people don't know that. And it's giving like the Run Disney people. And I don't even know, from like my like insider knowledge, I don't even think they've asked for like help with Halloween yet. So, I mean, we can see like during like the things that they've put out that they've already kind of tried to make a few adjustments. Yeah. But I do want to say like, it's truly not just like Run Disney people. Like it's actually the special events team. So yeah. I did want to add that just really quick. But just so they don't like get like a complete bad like, just anyway. But yeah, it very much like Jollywood Nights the first time. And I had like instant regret, like, oh crap, what's tomorrow gonna be like? And then I kind of like waited for updates, and like I still was on East Coast time. So I woke up and I was seeing everybody's notes in these Facebook groups that I'm in of them being like, hey, we're at the gate at security, but they won't let us in. Hey, like this is happening. And I'm like, during the 5K, and I'm like, oh God. We had a park day, so it was cool. Like whatever, go in the park. We saw some of the people. They gave me that like info about the course cutting, and I was like, oh crap. And then I started to hear people talk about like the characters getting cut and not taking photos. And I was like, dang. And I was like, well, I know that I'm in B tomorrow, so I know that I'll be able to get like some good photos, and I'll be able to get in the line. Wrong. Wrong. Our 10K experience was very interesting because we weren't able to meet up for you to pick me up, because I was like, wait, I can just walk. It's right here. Whatever, fine. Then I got to security and I was like, oh, this is what they mean.
It was a horde of people. Like, I'm glad that they had us going through metal detectors and all that. Like, thank you. Security is good. But they did not advertise that very well. And I think
in our Disney World minds, we're so used to just like walking through like the machine and being like, okay.
Yep.
And this was like a
backpack, everything. Yeah.
like the rectangle security, not the
not the goalposts.
Not the goalposts. Yeah, it was. And they had 2 different entrances for the 10K. So like, I was like thinking like, okay, the Disneyland, like the people staying like on the resort, they're here. And like, I'm coming from the other side where like the people are parking the cars, so it's not going to be as bad.
No, it took a good.
And I timed it. It took me 25 minutes to get through from like when I got there at like 4 something. No, I got there at 4 and it took me till 4:25. And then I had to find gear check.
Oh no.
It was very hard. It was very hard because there wasn't a lot of signage.
No, there wasn't. But I didn't have anything to check. So this is good to know.
There was like 0 to no signage, which is great because this is my first time coming here. And I didn't really like pre-study the staging map, which was available, but I was like, oh, it'll be fine. There's always signs. There's always a cast member.
Cast members.
It's Disney.
Exactly. They're going to tell you where to go. Not so much.
And I walk through, like I pass the porta potties. I'm like, okay, well, I guess this is the area I'm going to be in. And I look around and I'm just like, we're just in a parking lot. Like, this is it. And I walk over to the stage and I'm like, that's the stage? Like, I could touch this man. He's just right here. Like, he's not elevated. And then I'm like, wait, there's no characters. Like,
where?
And then I'm like, oh, okay, there's the bag check, like over in the corner. Phew. Okay, great. Because like, there's also not really a lot of cast members around. So I'm like, okay, cool. Then I come to realize, and like later through like other knowledge, learn that a lot of the people who were actually working the event weren't true cast members. Some of them were contractors, like brought in as outside help, because they don't have like the full ability to staff this. So I think,
oh, that makes sense.
I think people were also being pointed in different directions because these people are also contractors and not just like people. So they also don't know. So yeah. And then I'm like, whatever. I've turned in my bag. I'm texting Hayley and Hayley's like, well, I'm in my corral. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll try. Maybe I'll meet up with her after, like, I don't know. It depends on how cold I am, right? Because like it was like surprisingly cold. And I have on like this wig and I have this shawl and I'm like, I have my little puppy purse. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll just go get I'll go get in my corral. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like I'm towards the front of B, like, this is going to be awesome. And they start doing trivia and I'm sitting here and I'm like, it is 4:45 in the morning and I do not want to answer questions about what Donald Duck's sister's name is. Could you even hear it, Hayley?
Yes.
You could hear the audio?
I did, because I remember them asking what Donald Duck's middle name was, and I was like, I know that one.
Like, I do. But like literally no one knew these. No, like it was, the guy was really good, but I was like, these aren't even our Disney people. Carissa was there and that was it. Carissa Galloway. And then I'm like, where are the rest? Who is this man? And I get it. Like, they probably have these people that are returning. It was my first one there. So I was like, okay, cool. But like, I don't want to answer like obscure trivia this early in the morning. Please don't talk to me.
Pep me up.
Yeah. And let's see, they did the national anthem.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, we're getting started. Roll Disney's off. It's good. And I was like, oh, there's no fireworks. Okay, that makes sense. We're in a city. Like, we're in the city of Anaheim. Cool. The mayor's here. She's running. That's awesome. You go, girl. Like, good for you.
Ran.
Yeah, he was in Corral A. Like, awesome. Knew I wasn't going to catch him, but like, cool. Like, that's awesome. Yeah. And then I noticed when Corral A started, I was like, oh, they just keep going. There's not like waves. So like at Disney World, they break us up into waves to build space between.
Because I had the exact opposite experience. I noticed them do like A and then it would pause as B.
No. So they do waves within the corral.
Okay.
So like A like would go and there are people at Disney World that walk down through like the large corral and spread across like a white ribbon basically to like section it off. So there might actually be 4 sections of A.
Within.
Or
Okay, got it.
so it was just like a rolling start. And then I was like, okay, that's fine. I can do this because I know that like once I get out, I'll be on the street. It's going to widen up. Like there's not going to be a bottleneck. I know that I can do like an 8:30 mile to get like into the back end of the park. So that way I'm not going to be like congested.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody can do that. And that space in between, I think, is so important for people. And it definitely, I think, created a different experience. But the 10K course I really liked.
That was wonderful.
We just like went right into the back of DCA and I was like, okay, this is awesome. I kind of need to poop. So I guess I'll be able to poop in a bathroom soon. Like, this is going to be great. And then I'm like, oh, wait, okay, I'm still in the backstage. I gotta poop soon, guys. Like, okay. And then finally, I'm like, Soren,
got
it's time. Soren around the world. It's for me. And I go in, do my business. I had on pants that day, which is a bad choice because I had my magnet bib. And my bib just came like all the way out. So I'm like, I already have to stop to use the bathroom. And now I have to re-put my bib back on. And then I run out of the bathroom and the flight attendant is there and she is ready to help me. It was so nice. And I'm like, is my wig okay? And I'm like, it's okay. Because you know what? I know I'm about to run out of here and I'm about to run into Disneyland and I'm going to see the castle. And I'm so excited. And I'm like, wait, were there characters? Did I pass a character?
You did, actually.
Yeah. And there was a really long line for it. So I was like, I'm not going to stop. I'll stop at the next one. There'll be more. And I'm like, wait, did you stop? Did you stop for the first one?
I didn't stop for anyone.
It was Huey, Dewey, and Louie, right? That was the first one?
We looked at, so there, Scrooge McDuck was one of them. And I almost stopped for him because my boss loves him and I wanted to be like, but it was at the point where I was like, I'm finally starting to stop hurting. So we're just going to keep going. I don't want to wait for 10 people and then potentially hurt again and not be able to keep going. But I think it was, most of the characters now I think about it were in California Adventure because it was Scrooge was one of them, Darkwing Duck and the pilot guy from DuckTales.
I didn't even see Darkwing Duck. I would have stopped for him.
Huey, Dewey, and Louie were in there.
I saw them. I swear that's who I noticed first. And I was like,
and then some random girl from Chicken Little.
Sorry, just one second. You cannot yank your tooth out with a door. So anyway, I was really, I don't know if like you experienced this, but when you go from California Adventure to Disneyland, there were so many people and I was like, this is so fun. Like, why are there so many people cheering? Like, this is awesome. Like, this is getting me like
almost ran over a cone and like tripped myself. I like did a hurdle jump over it.
Did you not? PhotoPass get a picture of that?
No.
There weren't really enough of them to get pictures of much.
Please.
Yeah. Anyway. No, I mean, there were some. And like normally at World, you like see the green tent or you see like the green and you know that like there's a person there. But this time they were like, you like in your mind, like, you know, like, oh, this place is well lit. That means there's going to be a picture. And then I'm like, where? Hey guys, I'm ready. And I'm like, I put my phone in my like dog purse because I was like, they're going to have PhotoPass. It's fine. I'm just going to like do it. No,
there weren't a lot. No. And Disneyland still has like the old
vest thing. Yeah.
Clothes, so they don't even have the bright green shirts for you to notice them. But it was nice that it was like, you know, 1.5 miles, 2 miles outside the park, and the rest of it was inside the park. Versus Disney World.
I was a little sad though because I was really hoping for like a really nice castle photo.
Yep.
And I got like a selfie. I got like an awkward like selfie.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, great. And then we're like through Fantasyland, and I'm like, okay, and yeah. And I was like, ooh, it's fine. Like, I'll get something cool in Batu. Like, okay, is anyone here? Anyone? And And then in Toontown, I was like, okay, if I need to go to the bathroom, I guess I'll go here. Like, where are the pictures? And then I think that's when I finally saw Chippendale. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll take a picture. I think I took a picture with Chippendale and I took a picture with Goofy during the 10K. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to finish strong. So I went down like that like last corridor that was kind of like the underground tunnel that like showed as dotted on the course map that I was like, why is this dotted? Am I gonna
That was kind of fun because you could like, it was a dip of valley. So you could
like, I was like, this is like a
else
secret place. Like, this is cool. And people started like falling. And it was, I mean, it was still dark. Like I was in the front of B, like I'm running under like an hour pace. So like, and as soon as we like get up out of that and we're like about to like cross the street back to the main stretch to like finish strong, this lady just like drops next to me and I'm like, oh my God. And I was like, I have to help her up. And I don't know her name. I just like turned around and she like kind of looked up at me and she was like, I'm fine. And I'm like, no, like I'm not going to leave you on the ground. Like I am Cruella, but like I can't do that. And I literally like pick her up like, and like there's another lady and I'm just yelling like, medic, medic. And like at Disney World, we have like these like bike people just like everywhere. And I'm like, no one is coming. And I'm like, okay, maybe I should go because she said she didn't want help. But like there was another lady and she was like, no, it's okay, go ahead. And like the other lady's helping her and I didn't see blood anywhere. So I was like, it's fine. But then I'm like looking down like, oh my God. And I was like, okay, it's fine. I'm focused. I'm going to pose. I'm going to get my finish line pick. Like this is my wig on right. It's great. And then we end and there's still no characters.
There were, I think, Donald and Daisy were before the finish line on a stage, but not where anyone could do anything with them.
I didn't like. I was like, oh, that's why I finished quick, so I could do that. And then the cold hit me, and I was like, hey Hayley, like, where are you?
I was like, I'm still in Bachu. See you later.
I was like, okay, girl. Well, I'm glad I get to see you in 2 weeks. Because it was so cold. It was so cold. And then I was all wet. So I'm sorry about that. So anyway.
So the big difference, I would say, between the two races, East versus West, is that Disney World is a lot more on the streets in around the resort, but they've got like the highways that they can go in. And then they've got small parts in the parks.
It's like their land, you know, or like we run on the boardwalk, which is also very scary. And you can trip there too because it gets so slippery.
Yeah.
And like backstage through Epcot, like Mexico absolutely smells terrible. But yeah.
But in the property, you feel safe versus I think Disneyland's
then being on the streets of Anaheim
was a little iffy.
The half marathon was terrifying because after mile 5, you are on the streets of Anaheim and it starts so early.
Yeah.
I'm in the dark on like Catella Boulevard and it's completely silent because everyone around me is also like at a good pace, like, you know, in the 9s trying to just have a good race. And you see people start to fall. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, at Disney, like they have so much like control over making sure the street and like the potholes are filled or like circling it with like spray paint or not just putting a cone in a random place where no one's gonna see it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's cool, like, you know, views like gas station, McDonald's. And then like finally like you do like just for the next several miles, it's just like nothing but that. But like as it starts to get light, you start to see a few more people and there are people playing music and there's like stormtroopers that are like bring back Star Wars. And so we're all like, yes, that's what we want. And it's just like the number of people that I saw fall was scary. And even my girlfriend, like, she was having some chafing and I'm like, it's okay, we'll get something at the next med tent.
No med tents.
Like, no, are you still doing good? There should be a med tent soon. No, There was like nothing. And they were no PhotoPass people because it's like the streets of Anaheim.
Yeah.
So it's just you're just out there. I'm just out there wearing my Mickey gloves, keeping me warm. Yeah, we did get to run through like the parking lot of where the Anaheim Ducks play, and like the Anaheim Duck guy was out, so we like took a selfie with him. And like their ice hockey cheerleaders, is that what they're called?
Hockey.
They were there, and then like we ran from there down like this weird like, I don't know if it's like a river or it kind of looked like where they film like the car thing in Greece, like the embankment. Do you know what I'm talking about?
But it's
okay.
It's where the LA River goes when there's too much rain and it floods.
Well, I'm pretty sure we ran next to that, so I was like,
yeah,
cool.
A lot of them.
And then I'm like, oh, okay, now we're going to like Angel Stadium, and like I've heard so much about like, getting to run through this, and I'm like, oh, we're just running in the parking lot. Okay. And then somebody that's like running near us is like, oh, I'm glad we're not running through it this time, because last time I got gravel in my shoes. And I'm like, okay.
But it's fun. It's
another parking lot. Yeah. Woo. And like in your head, like when you're at World, you know that you're going to run back through Epcot, and you know that you're going to like have this fun finish and get to this place where it's like a celebration, and there's champagne, and there's like still merchandise, or like there's food trucks and food vendors. And you get back after the half marathon and you get your gear bag and you're like, okay, I'm just going to walk back to my hotel now in the cold. It's like, that's it. Like, I feel like I was lucky, and I did get like some really good finish line photos, but that's because I was kind of towards the front of the pack, and kind of like, in like the 1 hour and 2 hour mark for these like longer races. The people that were doing the half marathon, because they did the same like no waves and like the rolling start for the half marathon that started 15 minutes late. Most people, like by the time, I think after C, by the time they got to
mile three,
they were just stopped. They were stopped at a water stop, and like just picture, like my one friend was sending me pictures like, I've been standing in the same spot for 4 minutes. And like that can be a big difference between someone, for some balloon ladies, or and they cut the line. This was my first experience where I was in B and I wasn't able to take a picture with a character. So like the things that I knew I was going to do, I knew I was going to get a magnet for my car for the Dumbo. I got my little like mini metal magnet, and I knew I was like, I know there's going to be a Dumbo character so I can take pictures. Dumbo was the first character that I saw in D. First character I saw, and I'm like, oh, cool, great, awesome. Like, gonna go get in line. And they told me the line is cut. And I was like, what do you mean? No, you don't understand. What do you mean? Like,
that's why I'm here.
Well, you were in that B is the second corral. So
yes, correct. Like roll
all the way
goes
back
first.
G.
So later I found out what they were doing was obviously these people deserve breaks. Like the characters deserve breaks. Typically at World, when they're set up along the highway, which they can do there, or when they're in the park, they swap people out. So, you might lose Dumbo, but you might get Goofy, or like something like that would happen. Or if you're doing like princesses, you might have Jasmine, but then she goes in for a break and Aladdin comes out, and like the person who's like there when they switch, maybe they get both at the same time. Like something like that happens. They weren't doing that. They were just like saying that the line was cut. When that line was done, that person would go take a break, and then that was it. And I was just like completely blown away. So the only character pick that I got was with Sadness. But they didn't cut that line, which is crazy because it was when we were on Pixar Pier, which is probably actually my favorite. I thought my favorite part to run was going to be like the castle, but no castle picks really. But it was actually Pixar Pier because it was so beautiful at night. And anyway, they let me in line for that, and they were like, oh, but Joy's going to go take a break and Sadness is going to come out. And I was like, I guess. So, and then we like purposely were like, which worked. But that
Very
was it. I was like, wow. And I mean, after I started to understand more about the logistics and after I started to understand, okay, it's special events, it's the first one back, it's the city of Anaheim, like taking all of that in, I now think that I would go again and maybe just do the 10K and be okay with that. Like,
Yeah. I think the
it's
10K was the perfect time.
that I would rather do that 10K than an Epcot 10K.
Oh yeah.
For what you get out of it. And now knowing like I'm not gonna have as many photo passes, I'm not gonna have as characters, that's fine. Like still getting to be in the parks and have that like special magic, that's good enough for me.
I agree.
I'll try again. We're gonna get you out there, Keeley. We're gonna sign you up for one.
We'll see.
5K.
So what's funny is my full-time job, when I started with them at the end of 2019, they used to do that. Whereas if you got nominated, they would send you to Disney and they would pay for you to do Dopey if you wanted to during Princess Weekend. They would pay for all that and you did what you wanted to. So like I told everybody I worked with, and then that would have been February of 2020. I'd only been there for a few months, and then they've never picked it up since. So that was the one time that runDisney like piqued my interest, when I was like, oh, well, I don't have to pay for it. I don't have to register for it. I don't have to do it, but I would be registered.
Yeah.
I want to do one at one point. I think Disney World, because I feel like I wouldn't be missing out on anything if I did it at World, because I've been so much. Yeah. And I feel like I could like be like, oh, I'll lose like a half day or whatever and take
you want to feel like you have to like do the parks as hard, right?
Yeah.
Because you're like, you just know, which I do. I think that's why like we've been taking advantage of the water parks special that they've been running, because I'm like, I don't feel like stressed or pressured as a pass holder. I'm just like, oh, I'll go do this and I'll count it as my soak after the race. Like, it's nice.
Yeah.
I hear you.
I want to do the food and wine 10K, I think. Obviously not
this one.
Not going to happen. I think registration's already closed and all that. But
for 2024?
Yeah.
No.
But also I'm not going to train again this year. That's just not happening.
You finished without training. You know you can do it. You have March 12th is when it opens up for everyone.
Yeah, it'll be at least next year. I'm sorry, Skylar. It'll be at least next year.
I don't know if I'm going to do
I'll do 2025 with you. Maybe that'll be.
Okay.
Honestly, I started out doing only Princess, and I loved running for Girls in the Run. And one of my friends told me like, you got to try to do Wine and Dine. And my husband would actually do, well, I only did Princess. We were both signed up for Star Wars. It ended up getting switched to virtual because of COVID. But my husband had previously done Wine and Dine, and he's not like a Disney people person. Mm-hmm. So he was like willing to sign up for it again. And I was like, oh my gosh, like we could actually do one together. Like we haven't got to run a half marathon together. So I was like, this is awesome. Like, let's do it. And I actually really enjoy the experience of Food and Wine. It's not as many people. Like of the top 10 road races or races that happen in the US, marathon weekends in there and Princess weekends in there, because they're so heavily attended. Food and Wine just felt so nice and like kind of laid back. And the springtime 10 miler that I did, it also felt like that. And so it was kind of like, oh, okay, like I kind of like this better. That Princess weekend can feel very like more evil queenish sometimes by the people that you can encounter. So
yeah, it's a big mix of people who are there because it's Disney and they want to just have fun and run in Disney, and the people who want their times.
And I think you have to just go there like knowing this is not going to be your PR. This is not where you're going to break records and like, no, unless you're like truly an elite runner, this ain't happening. Like you go to have like those fun moments and to have those character experiences, or to get to run somewhere special that not anybody can do. The first time I ran down like in Main Street, I was like sobbing, and I had spray tanned myself the night before, and like it was like streaking. And then you like run back around through like Fantasyland and come back through next to the carousel, and there's someone holding like a box of tissues, and I was like, oh, it's not just me. Okay, great. And I start like crying again because I'm like, this is just so magical. Like, I just love it. And I still feel it every time because there's all these people like who woke up like crazy, insane people with you at 3 a.m. so they could just like cheer you on as you're like, I know I don't know you, but thank you. It's great. The Run Disney people are in general very friendly, like kind, warm, inviting people in person. In the Facebook groups, if you have a question, I wouldn't ask it. But all the information is there somewhere. So like just listen to the podcasts or utilize the search because the search exists for a reason.
That's like any Disney Facebook group, I feel like. Just either search or like
it's always the loud people that are people who are the loudest. Sorry, that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, I always tell clients, like, if you see something on Facebook, ask me first, please. Or if you see it, take it with a grain of salt and ask me if it's true or not. Because Facebook groups for Disney and then like the subsets, the niche ones, they get crazy. So just, yeah. And I'm in one Run Disney group when I was entertaining doing it a few years ago. And it's, yeah. But like I said, most of the Disney groups are like that. You cannot, because there's a lot of people that are serious about it. Like you said, there's people that are really serious. They take it seriously and they're not there to mess around. But I feel like when you're there, you are.
There has to be like some balance, right?
Yeah.
Like my only goal for the half was to finish before the 2:30 Pacers. Yeah. I was like, as long as I finish before them, like I'll feel good. Like I want to have like a decent, that's fine. Like that was my one thing, but like I knew it was realistic with stops, with like whatever else needed to happen. Like my friend needed to use, I didn't have to poop that day. But my friend needed to use the bathroom that day. So like we stopped for that, you know, it's just, you kind of have a game plan in your mind. So
yeah, that's Katie's and my goal going into it was to get as many pictures with as many characters as we could, and then as we were going we're like, no, we just want to finish it. we just
I want to finish uninjured.
Yeah, like we just want to make sure we get this done. We're feeling okay. Neither of us had been able to train for one reason or another. Mine laziness, hers was actual medical reasons. So like the fact that we both finished it and finished fairly strong for the two of us was good, and I think that's
enough.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's like count as a win.
Experience.
You didn't get to meet the balloon ladies.
No, I'm very happy about that.
They're very nice ladies, though.
I'm sure they are. I just did not want to get swept.
That job.
I would never have heard the end of it. I think we are going very, very long on this.
Yes, I'm so sorry.
We're going to wrap this up. If you have any more questions for Skylar about Run Disney, we're going to put her socials in the show notes, and we will see you guys on the next show. Thank you. Thank you, Skylar.
Bye. Thank you, ladies. Talk to you soon. Bye.